So after Beijing, 2009, 2010, 2011, all of those will be qualifying opportunities. But it's always the one the year before which is really the crucial one.
It's interesting going back to the point about Mutlu. There's quite a few athletes. Suleymanoglu won the Olympic Games 3 times, tried to come back to do the sort of unheard of 4th, never managed to do it. Dimas almost did it with that clean and jerk of 207.5 in Athens, if you remember, but again, never quite did it, only managed the bronze. And I suppose the only other person who was close to it and who could possibly do it would have been Mutlu, because he's actually won 3 Olympic Games as well. So, I think people were perhaps expecting him to do it, and now with missing this championship with his back injury, and that he's sort of leaving it a bit late even to get into the next Olympic Games.
Yeah, I think so, and you always also have that sort of uncertainty. Whatever you're doing in the gym, whatever you're doing in the training hall is very different to the competition stage. So here we go, the start of the men's 56 kilo competition. David Morgan alongside myself, David Goldstrom, and appropriately here in Chiang Mai, the very important city in the north of Thailand. We're going to get underway with Pongsak Manitung, this 21-year-old Thai who was involved in the World Championships last year. He was actually down in 22nd place. His total, the one he's entered, the one he aspires to achieve and improve upon, 261 kilos, and that is the lowest of all the totals entered here, so he is very much the outsider. But it'll be interesting to see how much he's improved a year on. A year from now, or going back, he lifted 103 kilos in the snatch.
Well, that's not bad, but it looks to me as if he's put in a very, very high total for himself. And don't you have to get within a certain amount of...
Yeah, you have to be within 20 kilos, and 106 there for his start. I think there's a little bit of sympathy here, because I think under normal circumstances he's a little bit off the pace, but I think because he's Thai and it's here and he's on television, they've let him go into the A group to compete, and hey, why not? Because they're trying to popularize the sport here. It's under royal patronage. Everybody knows that the Thai women's team is hugely successful. Nice to see the guys getting a little bit of exposure as well. So it's a good start, and it was well executed, but it does mean that he's following himself. So he's got 2 minutes to follow himself, which gives me an opportunity to wind the clock back 10 years to the last time we were in Chiang Mai, to the World Championships in December 1997, and what was then the 54 kilo category. Today, of course, it's the 56 under the revised weight, and on that time it was Lan Shizang of China who actually totaled up 287.5 and clean and jerked 160.5 kilos and snatched 127.5. So in many senses very much on a par with what we're going to see, I think, today. And Yang Bin of China was the runner-up with 272.5, and the best of the Europeans was, you might remember him, David, Naiden Rusev of Bulgaria, 262.5. So interesting to see how the Europeans like Vitaly Gerbanov actually get on. He's entered a total of 282, but this year in the European Championships only 266, and he seems to be a declining force. Former European champion on 3 occasions.
Well, he's 31 years of age, so he's sort of at that level where he's struggling to sort of tread water, really.
So on comes Manitung Pongsak. So 3 kilos up on last year, now 111. So this is a big jump, 5 kilos. He has to take a minimum of 2 for the second, so this is really going to tell us about it. The first one he obviously was very confident about. Now this is the one he believes he can do. The third one will be the one he hopes he can do. Good lift. Feet in line, nice and steady, no problems. And this fantastic sports complex just outside the town centre of Chiang Mai. It's where we competed in 1997 as well, so had some renovations. That's good lifting there. David doing all the technical things right, getting the hips in the right place.
Yes, and I think he's, I mean, it's good to see by contrast. I mean, he's 21. That was a personal best from last year of 8 kilos, so moving forward.
Well, of course, this might be a young man who we could wind forward 4 years to London 2012 and might be looking for, you know, medal honours in those Olympic Games, and will, if he's chosen to go to Beijing, will go there more for the experience of the occasion.
Yes, he's still young and he's still developing. I mean, I don't think you'll see the best lifting from him until he gets a bit more muscle on him. I mean, he's probably going to be at his best in the 62 kilo class.
I mean, it is important to if you're given the chance to go. I mean, it's a great thing to be an Olympian. I mean, you know, that's a wonderful achievement in its own right. But, you know, going there early on in your career to get a feeling of the atmosphere, how do you know? I mean, you've done that, you know, major championship. How helpful is that, David?
Well, very helpful, because obviously that's something that you can't experience in the gym. And I mean, something like an Olympic Games, for example, is very different to a World Championship, because a World Championship, you literally turn up and within a few days you lift. Olympic Games, you turn up, you're in a village. It isn't just weightlifters, it's all sports, and you've got all these other things that you have to deal with, like the press and the media. And the pressure of actually being in a village with people that you're going to be competing against, and having to train in the gym and watch them. And it is like a village. You know, you get the rumours, you see what people are doing, and the pressure can build up, and that's something that you can't train for.
So just an extra kilo on the bar here for 3 out of 3, and this would be a 9 kilo improvement on last year's Worlds. Certainly got the strength.
Yes, he took it to arm's length, just over pulled a little bit. I think when the weight gets heavier, sometimes you tend to lean back at the top of the pull, and of course when you do that, the weight starts going back, and that's the result.
Well, he's got a bit of a wait now because he's got plenty of time, the young Thai, to prepare for the clean and jerk. 2 from North Korea, the People's Republic of Korea, in this competition, Ri Kyung-sok, and also his teammate Cha Kum-choi. Cha Kum-choi, the most successful of the pair so far, but here's the first of them, Ri Kyung-sok. Now, in Pyongyang earlier this year, he has been improving his mark, so it'll be interesting to see what he can actually put in here. He's 26 years of age, and always interesting when you have 2 lifters from the same nation in a category pushing each other.
Very good start. It's interesting, if you notice there, David, but when he was doing using the hook grip, when you grip the bar, you wrap the fingers over the thumb, which enables you to grip the bar much better. And because of course these guys are so small, the hands are small. If you take a look next time, you'll see that he's actually grown his thumbnail, so that he's got something more to grip onto. That was very strong.
Yes, sir. Not sure I appreciate that shot too much, but onto the stage now. This is an interesting man, Manuel Minginfeld, representing Micronesia, comes here with a new South Pacific Games record and was snatching 124 kilos, so this is a conservative opener by that standard. And he's the highest ranked lifter in Oceania at the moment. That includes Australia and New Zealand. And 115, pretty confident start from him. He's 28 years of age. And interesting to see how he progressed. He actually got a silver medal in the Worlds last year, but that was in the clean and jerk. But it was also in the 62 category. He's moved down to this 56 kilo category, so it's going to be quite informative to see how he gets on. Europe now, and this is Artuç Sedat of Turkey, 31 years of age, so one of the elder statesmen. looking for a total of 270. That's a pretty modest total, but he's been around for quite a while. Third in the World Championships a couple of years ago, Sedac. 77.5. So again, we don't quite know whether he's on the up or the down. He's been the sort of replacement for stand-in for Mutlu.
Well, I mean, we were talking about ring rustiness. He hasn't competed for 2 years because of the ban, and that first attempt didn't really inspire confidence.
Yeah, also, if you go back in his career, David, he's the sort of man who needs to get off to a good start. The confidence sort of ebbs out of him very quickly if it doesn't really goes his way, and too many more mistakes come in, and he might well be following himself here. Some really interesting lifters in this group. Sergio Alvarez from Cuba. Good to see a Cuban in the lineup here. Second in the World Championships last year. Put a total of 279, and that was in Santo Domingo. Interesting to see how much he can improve in these 12 months.
Yes, and of course there's that added inspiration. I mean, whenever an Olympic Games is coming up, people just seem to start coming out of the woodwork. People that had retired start coming back. People start taking things a lot more seriously.
You do sense, though, that there's Europe's always been the stronghold, and in a way still is the stronghold of weightlifting, but not in every category, not in every division, not in terms of every total or world record or everything else. But you sense, obviously, in the women's divisions, where the power base is absolutely in Asia, you're beginning to see now the sport, or the big performances, one or two of them now going out to Asia, and one or two of the small areas like Micronesia beginning to find lifters who can compete at the very top. So this is Artuch for the second time of asking, and he needs to make this.
Well, that was closer, but we saw this. You see, we saw this yesterday, didn't we, with
Nurjan Thailand? Yeah.
It was almost as if she was coming out on a weight that should have been the third attempt, not the first attempt. She came out on 85, if you remember, and missed it quite badly, and then jumped to 84 and missed it quite badly, and then.
He's well capable of well over 120 kilos, so you would have thought 115 if he's anywhere near his best. I mean, they've assessed this. I mean, he's been here like everybody for the training week. They know what his condition was in Turkey. He's gone through the warm-up process. They've assessed him in that. They've decided they can, they only have to, they can change that starting weight. But
he's obviously not the man he was 2 years ago. But they're actually treating him as if he is, which is not good coaching, really, because it doesn't inspire confidence.
Well, I think it's very interesting with Turkish weightlifting where it's actually going. I mean, they're due to host the World Championships in 2010, and of course, when you host a World Championships, you're looking for success, and it could well be, David, that we're seeing, as a result of the 2-year ban, really the end of one generation, and the next generation hasn't really arrived yet. And whether it'll arrive in time for 2010, we'll have to wait and see. Because obviously, if it is going to arrive, it's already, as it were, back home working, but we haven't seen it yet. It's interesting, Turkey, Greece, two powerhouses of the sport, but, for different reasons and in different ways, they haven't really been showing at the moment. I mean, the big country, of course, that's up in the European Championships was Armenia.
But Greece never, let's face it, Greece never actually built a solid foundation. They took athletes that weren't originally Greek. I think there was one Greek weightlifter, a special person that was Greek, and they gave them everything they needed. And then when they were finished, they didn't have anything because they hadn't. And this is why it's important to build a foundation as opposed to buying athletes.
Right, crunch time.
So
makes it. He's still alive. And he's just about done. Well, he's done a Nurjan Thailand from yesterday. Third attempt, 115, but he's going to be left well down the order. And at this level, you can't really do that. That said, David, if he goes on, gets a total, he'll get some points for Turkey. That will help their cause for Olympic places. So maybe that's the way they're looking at it. Yeah, real frustration there. And Sergio Alvarez now, 118 kilos for the Cuban. ...27 years of age. And again, this would be well within his compass. This is the one he's definitely confident that he can lift. But he needs to have perfect technique, had that instant good rhythm, good explosion when he moves the bar off the platform. 30-second buzzer's just gone.
So he's very aware of the time, keeps checking it.
World silver medalist from last year.
Looks good, strong, confident. That's what a starting weight should look like.
That's nice. He looked very clear in his mind. You know, everything he was doing was precise. He was sure. You could see he was just always that little bit ahead, you know, in his mind. You know, that anticipation. Good drive up. Interesting to see how far he can go. Now, the European champion, Igor Bur for Moldavia, 22 years of age, posted an entry total of 280. That's what he aspires to achieve, or better, of course. He may have to go better if he wants to win a major medal today. Ranked 8th in the world. Ooh.
It's dangerous.
Well, that was poor. No, the balance was wrong.
Didn't gain enough height on the bar to fix overhead. Looked dangerous as well. It almost looked as if it was going to hit him in the head. We'll see that in slow motion. I think, in fact, it did touch his head.
Was that 118 as well?
118.
So, you know, that's what he did in the World Championships last year. He did 119 at the Europeans this year in Strasbourg. So, starting very close to, you know, where he left off, and that's a worry. Now there's concern. You can feel it, can't you? There he is, just in the warm-up room there. That's not what they wanted. It was not what they were looking for. Now they've got a problem. Oh, this is interesting. What's our little chat around the secretariat desk?
It's the Cuban coach.
Yeah.
Is he complaining about something, or?
Well, it's a question of where he's been put into and for the next lift. But this is where your coaches have got to be sharp for you. As a lifter, you've got to focus on your warm-up, and you've got to leave your coaches to do all this sort of stuff and make sure that it's the right weight for you and the right weight for you in respect of the opponents who you're trying to surpass. Just on the far side there, Attila, the IWF competition director, trying to ensure all is okay. Now, discussion going on at the jury table. So what is happening? Meanwhile, the clock is ticking down for the Moldavian, isn't it? Because he should have 2 minutes to come in. So I'm not quite sure what's going on here, David.
Well, then playing around with the main scoreboard. The scoreboard gives all the information regarding placings and state of the competition so far.
Yeah, I just wonder if something's technically gone awry there, because I have to say on our computer screens things are a bit blank. But this is very disturbing for the Moldavian, because you know, all this has been going on whilst he's been in the wings. But 118 second time now. Most definitely needs this.
So this time just needs to get some more height in that first phase, which he did much better. Yes, if we get a chance to see it in slow motion, you'll see just in the second phase of the pull, he just brought his hips through and just extended the body and held it just to that split second longer, just to gain enough height so that he could fix it on straight arms. Just at that point there, timing very important. You must finish that second phase, otherwise you can't gain enough height on the bar to take it to arm's length. But that, much better.
Yeah, he tried 121 in the Europeans in Strasbourg, didn't get it, but I wonder whether he's going to go for. I think he probably needs to go for that next time, just to, you know, keep him somewhere amongst them. So Jerbanov, 120 kilos for the Belarusian at 31 years of age, ranked 8th in the world. Well, that's really based on last year's performances when he was in 2006 a European champion for the 3rd time. He won it in 2002, 2003, 2006, so 3 European champion. But the biggest of the total weights he achieved was back in 2002, you know, all of 5 years ago. That was 277.5. Last year in the Europeans, only 266 and a snatch of 122. So obviously we would expect him to be more finely tuned for this. We're about to find out how the mechanics have done. Very good.
Yes, and when you consider that's 8 kilos over double body weight, it sort of brings you into a good start there for Durbanov.
Yeah, it was a really good shape. You know, he was well balanced. And take us through it, David.
Well, as you say, a textbook lift. Everything off the middle of the pull, and then everything in the perfect position.
The start, really. Now, Wu Meijun, or Wu Meijin, I should say. My apologies to him. The world champion in 2005, weighed in at 5 kilos 53, which is lighter than Jerbanov. Lead. We'll now get a little bit interested as to who takes the lead and who takes over.
Another real professional, also in the thumbnail, just to gain a better, more secure grip on the bar.
Yeah, a couple of years ago when he won the world title, 127.5 kilos. The half kilo was still around then.
It's not as impressive as Durbanov, and a wasted attempt. It just looked heavy, didn't it?
It did look heavy, I must say. And again, the hips were nowhere. I mean, that was never going to happen, really.
I think that, see, the temptation is to try and get under the bar before you've actually gained enough height on it, and the trick obviously is to get the maximum height before you go under it, and then to be able to go under so quickly that the bar hasn't had time to drop at all. And this is what they're balancing all the time.
So here's the man from Pyongyang in the People's Republic of Korea. 125 kilo increase here. First lift looked good. Now this is a little more of an examination. Just pumping himself up here. That's good. Had a little look at the website. It takes rather a long time to find these chaps, because you have to go through the speeches of Kim Il-jung before you can actually get to the sporting news. And in good communist tradition, the speeches are rather on the long side. And then when you do arrive at him, they sort of say he's jolly good and he set some new records, but the statistics are a little vague. So here's the man from Yap, just north of the equator in Micronesia. And still 120?
Still 120.
So again, 5 kilo increase. Ooh.
And that really did look heavy.
Yeah, that could have been nasty as well. Well, as I said, he did actually snatch 124 kilos, so he's proven that weight. And as a 62 kilo lifter last year, with snatch 8 kilos, but you would expect him to be a little bit off that. But a setback from the man from Oceania, and now Wu Meijun second attempt. Junior world champion Irawan still to start. Also Li Zheng, the world champion and the Asian Games champion, to start, and also the other lifter here, Cha Kum Choi. It's a lot to get through here. Well, I don't know whether the shout from the coach as you're bringing the bar up actually helps you a lot, but you know, here's a man who's got worries inside his head because he's not confident, David. You sense that, you know, there's a big question mark. Can I do this? Or, you know, and the way it's going at the moment, it's Li Zheng, China's main hope here. Manuel Mingifel from Micronesia comes out and weighed in at 55.70. Oh, and he's in trouble as well. Well, this is very interesting. Third attempt leaves him on 115, and he's going to be mighty disappointed. I mean, he was setting that 124. That was in August this year, 27th of August, so relatively recently.
But that was
no, he was actually lifting that in 56. Yeah. Well, it's a very good point, actually. Something I need to check on there. Was he a little overweight because it was those Oceania Championships Southeast? Yeah, it might have been.
Just seems to be quite a long way down.
Yeah.
If he was actually 56.
Yeah. In which case, coming.
It's a big percentage of his body weight.
Yeah, can't do that.
So this man struggling.
So former world champion, no total if this, and facing the same dilemma as Artuk Sedat, but Turkey, he's got to get those feet in line, and still, well, it wasn't pretty. Of the day so far. And he weighed in at 55 kilos 53, which, despite all that he's gone through, has just for this moment put him into the lead. Yeah, well, he clean and jerked 160 a couple of years ago on the way to the world title. It'll be interesting to see what he does in that. But Igor Boer, 120? 121, my apologies. So this 121 for the lead, and this is what he tried in the Europeans. This is what...
I think, I mean, looking at the 118 that he succeeded with, he is capable of this. He's just got to hang on in that first phase. Cut it short again.
So technical as opposed to strength, and it leaves him on 118. Well, it's interesting, David, because we were talking about the young Thai who started off the competition with us. 111 now, doesn't look quite so shabby, does it?
No.
Not that it was, it wasn't at his stage of development, but he's not so far off as now. This is a 3. And remember, they've got their elder calm. Cha Kum Choi was 4th in the Asian Games in Doha. So, the People's Republic of Korea thinking that this is a category in which they can do rather well. Maybe, or almost certainly, grab some useful Olympic qualifying points.
But no more cards to play.
But he can't complain. 115, 120, 122. He is the leader. Alvarez of Cuba come. Gerbanov with 2 lifts to come for Belarus. Li Zheng of China, the Asian Games and World Champion, still to open his account. Likewise, Cha Kum Choi of the People's Republic of Korea. He's got 3 lifts to come. And the Junior World Champion from Indonesia, Irawan Eko Yuli. Very how, because he is the youngest of the class, but maybe potentially wait and see. Certain confidence, this Junior World Champion strides onto the stage for his first attempt. Junior World Championship, 120 kilos. The Asian Games last year, 121. So it's an indication of his well-being. I'm sure he can do that. Strength is not the issue there. That was technique. But I suppose if he wants to play with the big boys, sort of weight he's got to start on, and that's the sort of weight. Whether he's going to prove to be a little over-ambitious at these world champions, we'll have to wait and see. We need another couple of lifts to get an indication of that. Now, a little bit more experience. This is Huang Antoine of 22 years of age, the Asian Games silver medalist. Growing in stature, 2nd in the world rankings at the end of last year, 3rd in the world championship, and he lifted 124 kilos there. He lifted 128 in the Asian Games. Terrific. Real good explosive power, new leader. So Vietnam go to the and it looks like the Cuban Alvarez next to come in.
Yes, so the Cuban taking a pretty big jump actually.
Yes. Well, as I said, this is the one he believes he can do. It is only a kilo more than he lifted in Santo Domingo in the humid, hot atmosphere that so many lifters found difficult, gasping for problems here in this very well-equipped and laid-out hall. Hot outside, cool within.
Shame, because that was really does need to get that lift though, because the 118 is going to kind of leave him a bit
yes,
really.
Well, this is the judgment call, isn't it? You know, he's done 118 because it was comfortable. He was absolutely certain he gets a score on the board, but at this game maybe he should have started at 120, which would have, you know, made sure he was a little less. But come world champion, one of the heavier guys, weighed in at 55 kilos 84.
Just 18 years of age. So what a potential he's got.
Better, and that's well corrected. Nothing wrong with that at all. Just a pity that the
best lifting, technically everything was exactly where it should have been.
The problem though, David, is when you really instantaneously starts to limit your you like to get the first 2 in and then third play with to react to what's going on around you. Now he's sort of in a way lost that option. He can say, right, I was always intended to lift to B, and he can go for broke, but as you said, behind the big guys. But not left in this, and lifts are running in. Now this is Alvarez, one, and he will be left behind.
Well, that could be very, very costly.
Be interesting to feet. You know the way that you rock off the feet and then just
now, very problems coming in the top of the top of the pull. He's leaning right back.
Well, another out. This is 125 kilos for the #1 ranked lifter at this weight category in the world. He's absolutely capable of 130. That's the kilo each that he lifted in Doha at the Asian Games at the end of last year. So 125 for the lead. Beautifully controlled. Something about him, isn't there? A little bit of swagger age. He's only kilos, well, a little less than that, 55, 69, but his presence is bigger than that. I'm the king of the castle, and I'm going to remain king of the castle. Interesting. Choi. He's crossed swords with Li Zheng, metaphorically speaking, than the Chinese lifter who just preceded him, and a fraction lighter. Well, he gets there, wasn't as, but he's got his 125, and so by virtue of lighter body weight, he was in. Still 8-9 go, so this competition coming to a fine climax as Vitalyov, and this is a 5 kilo increase here, so this is really pushing where we saw him in Europe this year. The first one though was very good, if you remember, David. So this is 3 kilos up on his European achievement of 122.
Well, bags of height on the bar, level, and then just mind you, there was a long pause between first and second attempt, but it's not strength.
Yeah, he's pretty experienced though. I mean, you know, that sort of absolutely crucial to lose a lift at this stage of the competition, because again, his option for the third lift has now gone. You know, Gerbanov's in there, so is Li Zheng, Choi, and you've got the Vietnamese lifter Huang, and you've also got Irawan, the junior world champion. So that could have been an absolutely crucial situation in terms of medals for a European lifter. Just lose out, because the Chinese lifter, the Korean lifter, the Vietnamese lifter,
Indonesian as well,
yeah,
the youngster.
So these medals may be going all in Asia. Yes, well, they definitely will be unless he lifts this, and then if he lifts this, he's just got to have to hope that one of the two others on 24 at the moment run into problems, i.e. the Indonesian and the Vietnamese lifter. So this for 125, absolutely crucial, and to keep him in the overall game. Medals for the individual disciplines as ever, but talk to any of these guys, they're really only in world championships. Got to make this. Come on. I'll give him that.
The experience showed, so he's back in competition, now just has to...
Yeah. Chance to respond to somebody who goes 126. That's what the loss of that means. Respond. His destiny in the hands of others. Looks really, doesn't he? He's lifter Huang. $127. Minimum increase between first and second. Those
Not the best, a little bit short. It'll be interesting to see what the
2-1.
2-1.
Central referee, potential press out there.
You could argue that there was a slap there. Nevertheless, it's,
lifts given for bigger press outs. But 2-1, unless the jury decide to intervene and overrule him the lead. 55 kg, along with a national world champion. So this would take him into the lead. And effectively, the previous successful lift by the Vietnamese lifter has pushed German off Al's. And that leaves the Indian youngster on 1-2-4. Only 1-3. And not the opening phase that he had anticipated. Just looked a little bit downcast there, David. Slumping, just...
Well, 1 out of 3 is always disappointing.
Bar going up.
Bar going, I think, to
128.
28.
Yeah.
Would be the sensible weight.
My name is Li Zheng. I'm going to win this. I mean, it's got it written in. It's not arrogance. Well, he had to work a little harder, but that gives him the advantage now. They're just full at this particular bit of the second half of the competition, of perhaps with the third lift, not just at worst staying on terms with anybody else who's going to try and live with him now, but also maybe just edge a kilo or two here. I mean, he weighs 55.69. Cha Kum Choi picture 55, and Huang, the Vietnamese lifter, was badly placed, Li Zheng. But he's disappointing that we haven't got Mutlu here, but on the other hand, makes this. He's going to run away with this, no a 5 or an 8 kilo. But Zheng, perfect, because he's of the 3 who are still at the he attempt.
That's right. But this will actually be lighter, isn't he?
Yeah.
And lead the 4 as a given that actually.
Yeah, and sometimes after the first lift, better performance, and that's definitely a better performance.
So pressure back.
So the gold medalist, the man who finished 4th at the moment, games who lead by virtue of lighter body.
So 3 attempts left in this class. Yeah, either of them could actually win the gold medal.
I was going to say it's going to be interesting for now.
I thought 129.
It is. He's got to put the, because he is the heavier guy. That does mean that the others can, because they're lighter. They can tackle. It's a pity he couldn't have pushed it to 130, really, isn't it? Championship games, yeah. But still, 129. It's a. These guys only weigh 56 kilos. 129 kilos. That's some. Task that much easier, hasn't he? Now with Ta or Huang of Vietnam, who will finish with the medal, 127 kilos.
So the high stakes poker comes.
Well, it's interesting also, David, just going back to 25, and he missed that second attempt. If he could have gone for the 127. You know, okay, he weighed in at 55.88, and Huang 55.90. Could have been that close. He might have snatched the bronze medal. So now the bar has gone to
130, so piling the pressure on.
So Li Zheng.
It means that
Well, Cha can go for the same weight.
Koreans can take the same virtue of lighter body weight, but if he hit, the medals are already decided.
Well, he's got to get this. Second lift wasn't as convincing as the first. It's better the drive was easier, and he made it a lot less. So 130 kilos.
So it's going to come right,
which is as it should be. 3 out of 3. This who's shown fire. Contrast here, furrowed brown. That means his strength here. 1 is for the snatch gold medal and 2 terms with the man who won the Asian Games. So China lead the career. Can he drive up? He's driven up.
Yeah, that is a bit too long to give him the down signal.
Yeah, I can't understand that. What do they want him to? I mean, it was 2 against.
No, there's.
Believe that. I don't.
Right. No, I would be complaining about. I'd be talking to the jury. There's no way that. Absolutely.
Come on, let's re-examine it now. It's not going to be the right angle, is it?
Not a press out.
Not a press.